It's coming up on 8:15. It's time to turn to the football. I'm delighted to say we're joined on the line by football writer with The Athletic, Caoimhe O'Neill. Good morning to you, Caoimhe.
Good morning.
Last 48 hours after Tuesday night, I'm sort of interested to get your thoughts on it. If the red half was buzzing as much as it usually is, or was the fact that United were so bad, has that taken any of the edge off it, or still very enjoyable?
No, it's still very enjoyable for Liverpool fans. I think, the 5-0 was good. The 4-0 at the time of the season, this is crunch time now. So I think Liverpool fans heading into that game were a bit nervous. United might have done something to, upset the title race, and sort of, a defeat or even a draw at this stage for Liverpool sort of means it's game over, chasing Manchester City perhaps. So I think, they were happy to get that win. But as soon as the game kicked off, it just, if it was quite clear quite quickly that Liverpool were going to, ease through the game as they did. You could tell from Thiago's showboat and that was going to happen. And Manchester United's lack of pressing the ball, they just gave Liverpool lots of room to run into, and that's the kind of performance Liverpool can pull off when they're not challenged.
And the tightness between City and Liverpool at the minute, the points difference, and the fact that the lead is going to swing one way and the other, isn't it, over the coming weeks? And I'm assuming that Liverpool fans are following City games almost as closely as their own matches at the minute. But it did strike me that, like, if you're waiting on and it'll get tighter and tighter as the weeks go on, but you're waiting on the likes of Brighton, Watford, Leeds to do you a favour, is a short path to going grey quickly.
Quite painful, isn't it? But Liverpool fans have been here before, and City fans will be in the same boat, wondering whether United could have done anything. It'll be Everton at the weekend, and Newcastle, Tottenham, and teams like that in the weeks to come. So both sets of fans and even managers and players will have their eyes on each other's fixtures. But it is about Liverpool just winning their games and hoping and I guess praying for something to happen with Man City, for them to slip up in one of the games. Just a draw, as I said, for either team would probably render the race over. So it's crucial that Liverpool keep on winning. But I do sort of look at both sets of fixtures and think probably at some point they're going to drop points, either team, but it hasn't happened just yet. They obviously dropped points against each other, but that felt like Liverpool got out alive there, and it sort of spurred them on going into Wembley the next weekend, and that performance was brilliant, and the performance against United was. So it feels like there's a real momentum with Liverpool at the minute.
You mentioned there a moment ago Thiago's showboating, kind of taking the piss out of Manchester United the other night, and it does feel that he's kind of taken the Anfield crowd to a whole other level again, that there is this magician in midfield when he's on the ball that is really exciting the fans to a level that maybe any of the other midfielders over the last couple of years just haven't been capable of doing, as effective as they have been.
Yeah, I think this is Klopp's plan all along. He's always been looking to find, those marginal gains, and also players who he thinks will take this Liverpool team to a new level. And I think Thiago was almost that missing piece that Liverpool fans didn't really know that was missing. And, as soon as he's come in, he's had a difficult first season. He obviously gets an injury, which keeps him out for a long time and disrupts it. There's no fans in the ground for most of the season. But this season, he's really taken to being a Liverpool player, and the fans have really taken to him. I think it's 14 league starts without defeat when he starts. So, you can tell the kind of impact that he's having on this Liverpool team. But just to watch him play is a joy. Like, I've never watched a player like that before. And for Liverpool fans to be getting to watch him week in, week out is just, mesmerising. There's some passes he makes when I'm like, right, I'm going to keep my eye on him now. I'm going to try and watch where he's going to pass the ball, and then he still surprises you. He's like a snooker player, like a few shots ahead with every pass, and yeah, he's just incredible to watch. And I do feel like he's almost raises the level of the players around him, because his passes almost make them have to sort of deal with them almost. Sometimes he passes the ball to people and it looks uncomfortable how he's done it, but he's managed to scoop a ball across or over, and players just have to deal with it. That he's almost constantly raising the level of those around him, and he brings that real winning mentality with him. You can tell he's a winner and he wants to win, and he's the type of player that will be really crucial in the coming weeks for Liverpool.
The snooker player aspect is, having read your piece during the week, it absolutely nails it. Almost raising his own level as well, Caoimhe, to a degree. Is that fair enough to say that he's never been as on it as he is at the minute?
Who's that? Sorry.
Thiago.
Yeah, I don't think he's performed like this for Liverpool before. He's just come into that rich sort of vein of form at the minute. not being able to play at Wembley against Chelsea was upsetting for him, because he was starting in that League Cup final, and then there was tears because he hurt himself in the warm-up. He got to show what he's all about at Wembley against Man City, and will continue to show Liverpool fans what he's all about. But like I said, he just raises the level. Watching him, it just takes this Liverpool team to a new level. And I've been saying for a while now, this team, I thought it was the best Liverpool team ever a couple of years ago, but it's almost even better now. So it's just, I think Liverpool fans are enjoying this journey, certainly.
There was so much around the Salah deal, whether it would get sorted or whether it wouldn't, and then there was some indications a couple of weeks ago that it would all get ironed out. And then, as fortune would have it, Luis Diaz doesn't quite arrive on the scene, but certainly makes his presence felt in a way that you almost felt that if Liverpool were to lose Salah, that it would be less of a blow, given the emergence of Jota in the way that he's been there, and now the emergence of this guy. And look, I guess the ultimate outcome after all of that is that Salah gets tied down, and they just have to keep 4 or 5 world-class players happy in the team week in, week out.
Yeah, it's a difficult job Jurgen Klopp's got, isn't it? But I think, the addition of Luis Diaz has really taken Liverpool to another level as well. He's just brought energy and excitement and fun. Every time you watch him on the ball, he's just, like a kid in the playground. He just wants to run with it and have fun. And he's brought a new energy to Liverpool that they probably needed, halfway through the season. He's been just incredible. And, I think he's been a real signing for Liverpool and will continue to be. So he's, almost one for now, but also one for the future as well, as you mentioned there with Salah and Mane, both turning 30 and, going into the last years of the contract. So it's difficult sort of for fans to even, think about Salah or Mane not being Liverpool players. As what they've given to the club has been just outstanding, and they'll go down in club history. But Liverpool fans aren't ready for that. Yeah, they want more from these players, and that's the hope that they can get them committed to contracts. And you mentioned Diogo Jota as well. The thing with Liverpool, it feels like even when they're building for now, they're almost building for the future. They found a player like him who's going to dominate, you would imagine, for years to come. So they're always looking for those edges now, but also for the seasons to come, which I think they never did for such a long time. So I think that bodes well that the good times might just keep on rolling for Liverpool.
And the good times for Liverpool is all that Liverpool fans will need. But in the context of this season, seeing Manchester United struggle, seeing Everton in relegation trouble, for being honest here, that makes the season all the better for a Liverpool fan, I suspect.
Yeah, Liverpool fans probably, but they're just having such a good time on their own. They don't really, that's the thing with Liverpool fans, I think they've always just enjoyed what their team are doing. I haven't looked sideways too much, they'll be looking up at that one point and chasing Man City down. That's the main focus for everyone. And I think, to do something like a quadruple perhaps would be, it's never been done before. It would leave it would be, imagine the parade for that. It would be incredible. So the Liverpool fans have always, I think, been focused on Liverpool, and it's going to be a tough game against Everton with them battling it out. Obviously, Burnley picking up 3 points against Southampton last night. So, I think they'll probably get more of a fight out of Everton than they perhaps did against United in the week.
A fight might not be enough, of course. There's a big golfing quality there. Just before we get into the bones of that, are Everton going down, do you think?
Pardon, sorry?
Are Everton going down, do you think?
No, I think they'll manage to do it and stay up. I felt like there was a bit of momentum there. Obviously, Richarlison scores a late goal. Points like that can just be defining for a team. And yeah, I don't think I'd like to see them go personally. My brother's an Evertonian, and most families on Merseyside are split down the middle, red and blue. As much as there's banter between the two sets of fans, it'd be pretty weird not having a Merseyside derby to look forward to a couple of times a season.
The fight point is an interesting one, because it was one of the biggest criticisms, obviously, of United during the week, that whatever, but the lack of quality, there seemed to be little fight there, and you assume, as you say, that Everton have loads of it. But the golfing class, Caoimhe, I'm assuming, means that at some point or another Liverpool get to stretch the legs a bit about this. Like, the result of it is surely not in doubt.
Yeah, I mean, every game, I think Liverpool fans are approaching it with sort of nervous energy because it's just, every game is crucial at the minute. But like they did that with the United game, and then, I mean, within 10 minutes, you kind of knew where it was ending up. So I feel like the first 10 minutes almost set the tone for the Liverpool games at the moment. That happened at Wembley. You knew as soon as the first goal went in, that was it. Like Liverpool were going to be winning that game. Even the City come back with 2 goals in the second half, there was always that feeling that Liverpool would ride that storm and get through, because sometimes there's just a feeling with them, and I think you'll see that on Sunday straight away. And then Villarreal will come to Anfield, and Liverpool have the chance to put themselves into a final of the Champions League, which is the third one under Jurgen Klopp, is just, I mean, an incredible thought, isn't it? So yeah, there's so much to look forward to, obviously, with a FA Cup final in place as well. And Liverpool have touched really lucky with injuries in the past few months. The squad's been pretty much fully fit, which they didn't have last season. So the injury gods are sort of looking down on them, I think, so far.
What's interesting at the moment as well is that there's been a real trend over the course of the season of using Liverpool as like the barometer of how to, or maybe even a blueprint of how to actually make a football club good again. It feels that theme has been there around Arsenal over the last couple of seasons. Manchester United very much tapping into it now. Ranić himself said there's a 6-year gulf between ourselves and Liverpool, as if time and patience are the number one ingredient required to take a club to Liverpool's level at the moment. But from having covered them over the last couple of years, Caoimhe, I presume there's a hell of a lot more to it than that. There has been huge success in the transfer market, huge success in recruitment, obviously the biggest success of all in getting Jurgen Klopp into the club. Yes, there's been a lot of patience involved with Liverpool, but there's also been a hell of a lot of good decision making that's taken place that other clubs aren't necessarily they don't have a God-given right to have themselves.
Yeah, I think Liverpool won the lottery with Jurgen Klopp, to be honest. I think his approach to this football club has been just, I mean, incredible, really, when you look at the kind of marginal gains he's looked for in every way on the pitch and then off the pitch as well. Like you mentioned, the recruitment has been phenomenal. Selling Coutinho and bringing in Van Dijk and then Alisson, always bringing in the right players, and players like Andy Robertson, who's, been just one of the first names on the team sheet for such a long time now. Just bringing those players together, Salah, Mane, you could go through the entire team. Pretty much most of them are Jurgen Klopp players, and I think the job he's done, the job Michael Edwards obviously has done, and the those who work behind the scenes on recruitment and just coaching, every sort of part of the club just feels like it's all clicking into place. And like you mentioned, United might be a few years away from that, as Liverpool went 30 years without a title. They had good times during those 30 years, but they weren't always good. And, the one thing that got away was the league title. So, yeah, I think Klopp has almost rebuilt Liverpool. And, yeah, fans are just made up with that. I think, talk about Salah and Mane and, other players perhaps leaving in the coming years. But it's Jurgen Klopp as well that Liverpool fans want to stick around, because obviously his contract's till 2024. They want him to stay forever, I think, because he has brought the good times back to Liverpool, and just in his approach to being a manager.
He rotated out loads of regulars, obviously, for the Benfica game, and they had that cushion from the first leg, or that comfort almost. Is that a gamble? And I use that word advisedly, given that their B team is pretty good. Is that a gamble that he's unlikely, do you think, to take again? That he's almost happy that version of that team that played Benfica can do with Everton and keep all the rest, or most of the rest, fresh for Wednesday?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he rests and rotates players, because that's been something Liverpool have done for such a long time. I think, Manchester City had to do it after playing Atletico Madrid. So at Wembley, they rested a few key players, and I think that really did show. But, Guardiola and Klopp have been brilliant at it, and you have to do that with the amount of games. Liverpool might end up playing every game this season, which is incredible. You know, if they get to the Champions League final, I think it'll be about 63 games. So, you know, not every player can play every minute, although Andy Robertson will try to do that. You know, you have to bring them out and bring players like Kostas Tsimikas in, who's been, you know, a real find for Liverpool because he's, you know, brought that same level of quality Robertson brings to the left. And, you know, I think it's like Canate and Matip, how, you know, Klopp's been able to rotate them, how he's brought in Joe Gomez, obviously, who's, you know, sort of now fourth choice for centre-back at the minute after his injury. He struggled to sort of regain that. But, you know, he's coming in at right-back every now and then for Trent and Alexander-Arnold. So I think, you know, the way Klopp has approached it in terms of, you know, wouldn't shock anyone if Thiago, for example, gets a rest against Everton and then plays against Villarreal. You know, I think resting and rotating these players has been key and fundamental to, you know, where Liverpool have been able to get to and, you know, their pending success this season.
And just finally, before we let you go, you mentioned earlier on the Liverpool winning the lottery when they got Jurgen Klopp. Do you think United have hit the jackpot now as well, or what's your sense of the impact that Erik ten Hag is going to have?
I mean, reading his quote yesterday, you know, he sounds like he's up for the rebuild, isn't he? So, you know, watching his Ajax teams are always pretty much fun to watch, and you know I think they've got such a long sort of history of youth players, bringing in youth players. I think they've got like a really crazy streak of like there's been a youth player, sort of an academy player in the team for like years and years, for pretty much every game. So, you know, they've got that philosophy there. I think he'll bring that over and, you know, really work with the younger players and, you know, help bring them through, but also sort of do what Jurgen Klopp did and, you know, getting rid of the players that don't fit, you know, and moving them on to other clubs. And, you know, that can take 2-3 seasons, if not more, to sort of do that. It won't happen over the summer for Manchester United, but I guess he needs to have that support that he'll be able to do that, bringing the players that he sees. You know, it is easier said than done and it will take a time to sort of happen. But I think, you know, you can see from the excitement of United fans that they're pretty excited about this new direction after, you know, it's so difficult to replace someone like Alex Ferguson, and they've sort of, you know, brought in plenty of managing in between them. But, you know, Liverpool might eventually be in that sort of boat after Jurgen Klopp. Post Jurgen Klopp era at Liverpool could be similar, given the success he's had at Liverpool. So it's always difficult replacing a massive sort of figure like that. So, you know, United might just get it right with this one.
Yeah. All right, Caoimhe, thanks a million. Enjoy the football the weekend.
Thank you.